no one is able to see or hear you. You guys are safe right now. Okay, hello, Leroy. Welcome. I am doing well. Welcome, welcome. Okay. So today we're going to continue on in talking about when to use the subjunctive. And as always, we are going to do a brief review in what we have learned in the past weeks. Now, for those that are brand new to my class here on Take Lessons Live, please note that you guys will get a copy of the textbook that we are using this class, so you guys can review on the lesson notes and do your homework assignments. Yeah, there's homework in my classes. Okay. So one of the biggest things that we have learned about Spanish is that when you first learn about the language, we are learning the tenses in a specific mood. It brings a whole new meaning of saying Spanish is just moody. Wait for it. Oh, wait, no. Yeah. Okay. So there are three moods, both in Spanish and in English. We have the indicative mood, and this is what we first learn. We learn how to express facts, to express what we believe in, things that are not really changing. Then we have the imperative mood. This is what I call the bossy mood, because this is the commands. Hey. And then we have the subjunctive mood. And this is what I call the pain in the butt mood. It's totally emotional. You'll get, for those who may understand that pun right there. So it's the opposite of the indicative mood. How we Spanish teachers introduce the subjunctive mood is about uncertainty. It's emotional. But it's only one aspect of one clause. It doesn't really explain facts. Okay? So approach the subjunctive mood as the opposite of what we first learn in Spanish. Speaking of the opposites, we also learn about the conjugations that happen. So let's see. And guys, if you have any questions, go ahead and write it down in the chat, okay? So, as we know that with Spanish verbs, give me a second here. Drawing is not my forte, FYI, even on Zoom. Spanish verbs are either going to end in AR, ER, or IR verbs. Okay? Now, we're going to take a look at the differences of the conjugations. Welcome back, Hiba. But I scared you. Phew, I'm glad I didn't. Okay. So when we are first introduced to Spanish, specifically when it comes to verb conjugations, and we're only right now focusing on the present of the indicative right now. So we're talking about facts in the present. So what we do is that for a good handful of the tenses, we are going to drop these infinitive, mother of macaroni. I'm going to go pirate, you guys. We're going to drop the infinitive ending. So we're going to drop the AR, the ER, or the IR of the verb, and we're going to replace them with the corresponding endings. So give me a second here, and we're going to go over them. And even though my later beginners who have been, coming to classes before, consider this as repetition. By constantly seeing this will also help you remember. And also when you get to actually speaking it in Spanish, this whole thing will be ingrained in your brain. Para las malas o para las buenas. Okay, dame un segundito. Oh, yo soy tonta. Ay, ay, ay. There we go. Okay, hemos. So as you can see, with the AR verbs, it's typically going to have A endings. And this is the biggest thing to remember. So again, in the present indicative, when dealing with the conjugation, AR verbs in the present indicative is going to have basically A endings. Now, we are not going to use the vosotros form as of right now for two reasons. One, space. And two, honestly, even if you guys plan to travel to Spain, unless you guys plan to move there, if you guys are just traveling, it's better to use the ustedes form. And I will elaborate in just a moment. So let's take a look at the verb cantar. Who can tell me via the group chat what does cantar mean? Let me know. To sing, see, yes. Okay. So if I wanted to say I sing in Spanish, I'm going to drop the AR and I'll say canto, which automatically translates to I sing. And this is a fact. Absolutely a fact. Let's look at comer. Now, I'm also seeing, like with you guys, how you know your conjugations right now. Let's look at comer. Let's say I wanted to say you eat informally. Any ideas how to say you eat informally? Let me know in the group chat. Yes, Leroy. So, okay, so you are right, Jade, if we were speaking politely. If I was using the usted form, then yes, we would totally use come. But since I guess we're informal, like we're talking to friends, we're going to use comes. And comer means to eat. All right, and let's look at the verb recibir. Any ideas on what that word means? Let me know what you guys think. sounds like an English word. Yes. To receive, recibir. Good. So this is the, let me put this on top, yo form. This will be the tú form. This is the usted. Él and ella. Sorry, I just remembered something. Nosotros. Then we have ustedes, which is you plural. Now, depending on the teacher that you guys have, you may encounter vosotros, which means you plural informally, but it's only really used in Castilian Spanish. So typically Spanish spoken in Spain, but they also use this in Argentina as well. But again, it's informal. To speak politely, like you all, they're going to use ustedes. But the Spanish spoken in Latin America, we use ustedes for both informal and formal situations. So either way, you guys are going to end up using ustedes anyways, just to be polite. Ellos. And I'm going to squeeze this here. Ella. Amir, hola, ¿qué tal? Okay. So, recibir. What is the pronoun meaning he? In Spanish, in español? Let me know in the chat. Él. So how would I say he receives in the present indicative? Él recibe. Look at you, Hiba, with the tilde, with the accent. It's fancy. All right, good job. So any questions on the conjugation in the present indicative? ¿Estamos bien? Are we okay? Sí, perfecto. Good. Now, let me go ahead and just undo all of this finger workout right now. Okay, but what about the subjunctive? Dun, dun, dun. So remember I mentioned opposite earlier? So not only with ARs going to have an E form of the ending, the yo form and the third person singular, which includes usted, él, and ella, are going to share the same ending. Let me just bring this. There we go. Now with ER and IR verbs, we're going to change them to the A form of endings. So again, it's going to be the complete opposite. Now, the reason why I constantly repeat this every time is because this is going to allow you to to identify whenever you listen or read Spanish. So we have coma, comas, coma, comamos, coman. And the same thing will happen to the IR, reciba, recibas, reciba, recibamos, reciban. Rosy, I love that name. Or is it Russell? Is it Rosy or Russell? Let me know in the group chat. Is it one or two? Rosy or Russell? Okay. So, any questions about the conjugation? ¿Estamos bien? Let me know in the group chat. See? Okay. I always want to make sure, because even if you are confused and don't want to say anything, I need you guys to say something, because I genuinely want you guys to learn. Okay? All right. Now, when to use the subjunctive? And the conjugation is indeed the simplest part of learning the subjunctive. But knowing when to use the subjunctive, that's a whole other story. That's going to require some skills, some practice, a lot of repetition. Okay. So we have this conjunction que, and we are usually going to see it in a sentence when using the subjunctive. And we've learned about this thing called dependent clauses, which, oh, sorry. Give me 1 second here. There we go. Which usually means it's the second part of the sentence. It's a sentence that cannot stand on its own. The subjunctive will be conjugated in the second part of the sentence. Now, usamos el subjuntivo cuando queremos expresar duda. Okay? Uncertainty. See? Incertidumbre. We'll also use it to express negación, denial de la realidad, of the reality. See? So this is one of the times in where we're going to use and where we're going to conjugate a verb in the subjunctive in the second part of the sentence, in the dependent clause. Also, we will use the subjunctive to express advice, commands, or suggestion. I'm awake. Ish. Debatable. So if I want to say, I advise you to leave. Te consejo que salgas. My father does not let Berta go to the party. Mi padre no deja que Berta vaya a la fiesta. So again, we will use the subjunctive when we are expressing an advice, a command, or a suggestion after the conjunction que. Also, we will use the subjunctive to communicate attitude, feelings, or emotions in the dependent clause about a subject different from the one in the main clause. This is huge. So if you guys have a notebook, you might want to write this down. So to communicate attitudes, feelings, or emotions in the dependent clause about a different subject from, or about a subject different from the one in the main clause. I cannot highlight. So for an example, we regret. So the independent clause, the first part of the sentence, this part is going to be in the indicative. We are stating a fact here. We regret. Sentimos que. Ustedes no pueden venir. So this is the second part of the sentence. And we're talking about another subject right here. We're not talking about we, because we get to go to dinner. But you guys, sorry. But since it's you guys, I will sneak you into the dinner. I hope you guys are hungry. Now, before I continue, are there any questions? Is there anything that you guys would like for me to go back on? Are you guys still awake? See, everything's there? Okay, good, 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 good. You drink it. Could I have a cup? Oh, wait, hold on, hold on, hold on. I have my little energy drink. I found totally off topic, by the way. I went to Costco. This is better than Red Bull. It's called Celsius. It is super good, and boy, does it work. And apparently, it accelerates metabolism and burns body fat. I don't know about the other two, but it does give you energy. Like, I drank one of these like at 5 o'clock and I could not sleep. So I recommended not to drink it towards the evening hours. Earlier, the better. Okay. And also, they're really good. This is totally like not sponsored, by the way. This is actually generally good. Tasty. Okay, going back. All right. So to communicate attitudes, feelings, or emotions in the dependent clauses about a subject different from the one in the main clause. Let's look at another example here. He fears. That's a fact. He is scared. He's a coward. That I'll win. I am the other subject. And bleep straight, I'm going to win. Ha. Teme comes from the verb temer, which means to fear. Que yo gane. Now, now let's check out these phrases right here, the following verbs. Whenever we see these emotional expressions, it's 60% of the time going to be followed by a verb conjugated in the subjunctive. Again, 60% of the time. Because as we learned on Monday, we've learned expressions that includes que, but we're not going to use the subjunctive. Dun-dun-dun. And I will be doing a review on all of this on Thursday about when to use the subjunctive. We're not going to go over the conjugation on Thursday morning at 6 a.m. California time, PST. We're going to completely go over when to use the subjunctive. So I will bring the coffee for you guys, or be drinking it for you guys. One, maybe both. Okay. Let's go over these phrases. Everyone, please repeat after me. Alegrarse de qué. Good. Let's go look at the next phrase. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger for you guys. Enojarse de qué. Please repeat. De qué. Estar contento o contenta de qué. To be glad that. Contento is for those that are male, and contentas for those that are female. Or however you identify with. Then we have molestarse que. Please repeat after me. Molestarse que. To get annoyed that. Then we have sentir que. Please repeat after me. Sentir que. Now, this means to regret, and I'm going to come back to this in like 1 second. Then we have temer que. Please repeat after me. Temer que. Good, which means to fear. Now, there are going to be certain expressions when used in the subjunctive that's going to be followed by que, which can change the meaning. So, por ejemplo, querer que. Querer que, we know querer meaning to want or to love, correct? Well, by adding the que, it expresses hope, hope that. So don't, I want to say don't actually. Mm, just, when keep that in mind as you're reading or listening to Spanish. And the way that you'll be able to tell what the meaning is going to be is how the verb is conjugated. And we're going to be doing an exercise for listening Spanish, sorry, Spanish listening comprehension this weekend. And I do apologize for last weekend. I needed a weekend off. I really needed it. The anxiety was going crazy, crazy, I tell ya. So thank you guys. Okay, now before we end class, I'm going to leave this for questions. Is there anything, and I know this is like probably the fourth time I've asked this, but I just have to be sure. Is there anything that you guys are confused about or have a question about the subjunctive? So, hasta de que versus hasta que, is that what you're having trouble with? Hmm. So, okay, so here's the difference between que versus de que in general, because you're going to find que or de que after like hasta and other expressions. Um, excuse me. So let's go ahead and take a look at an example. Let me go ahead and give me a second. Let me stop this here. There we go. There we go. Nope, you're still showing that. One second. Okay. So, una de las cosas que tenía que aprender era cocinar, for an example. Okay. So, que right here, so like or like hasta que, that que is being used as a relative pronoun, which is going to introduce a clause that provides more information about the noun, las cosas. And this is something that we actually have been learning when it comes to relative pronouns during the weekends. So hasta que, that que is functioning as a relative pronoun. So it's going to add more information about the previous subject. Now, if I wanted to use this sentence, like, so like tener que versus tener de que, I know it's slightly different, but it still involves the que versus the de que. Just write this down really fast. Okay. Tenía la sensación de que me iba a pasar algo. I had the feeling that something was going to happen. Now here, de que is being used as a conjunction, not a relative pronoun. And as a reminder, a conjunction is going to either connect words or phrases or sentences, and connecting it to specifically a dependent clause, a sentence that cannot stand on its own. And chances are, like with de que, again, 60%, we're going to use the subjunctive actually. I hope that made sense. ¿Estás bien, Amir? Did that answer your question? Okay. Okay. If you want, there's actually an oh my God. I want to say, I think there's an article on it on SpanishDict.com. I want to say Spanish Dict, but I'm not sure. I think so. I read Spanish grammar blogs during my free time. So, nerd. Of course, of course. All right, guys. So that will conclude class for today. Again, if you guys have further questions, please do not hesitate to ask. And also, go ahead and I actually recorded this on YouTube. Please let me know I would love to know your feedback. Let me go ahead. I'm just gonna copy that link, and also please subscribe. Yeah, subscribe. Because I actually do have videos on there too. And also I have videos here on Take Lessons. Yes, exclusive to Take Lessons. Right now it's all about the subjunctive, actually. So definitely please be sure to check that out. Go ahead and leave that like, and until next time, I shall see you tomorrow. Bye everyone. Nos vemos. Bye.